Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of my Out of the Park Baseball 24 Washington Nationals playthrough. We are at opening day of season 2, and expectations are a bit higher this year for the Nationals. I discovered quite the surprise when looking at the preseason predictions, because we, from this sim, expected to go 85-77, finishing second in the NL East. And Luis Garcia was one of the top hitters in this simulation, hitting 327 home runs, which is absolutely no way he's going to hit 27 homers, given his 50 power. The fact that he hit just 9 last year. But this is definitely a good sign, though. I believe we would have made the playoffs in this simulation. And looking at our season expectation from our owner, it's still just to stay respectable on the field. So at least our owner is not expecting us to make the playoffs, so there's not as much pressure coming from him. Before I get into the lineups, though, a couple other things. Got the top 100 prospects list. Just 3 guys still. Dylan Cruz at 10, James Wood at 32, and Robert Hassel at 48. So now looking at the lineups. So we do have Luis Garcia batting leadoff. He had a very good spring training, actually, batting .350, 85 OPS, and was able to get his third base defense almost up to its maximum. But I am really excited with some of the signs we're seeing with Garcia, considering the contract I signed him to. Then Jonathan Aranda batting second, also had a super good spring training with a .994 OPS. Then Ruiz batting third, James Wood is batting cleanup after having a monster spring training, with an OPS over 1,000. And his ratings did improve, both his potential and overall, during spring training. Then Joey Meneses, DH, in the 5th spot. Cameron Misner did make the roster. Well, I wouldn't really say he made the roster. I mean, he had a horrible spring training. I was actually looking to trade him. But I felt I didn't really find anything there. But I didn't really want to release him since there are still a lot of things I like about him. So I'm going to give him a shot. But if he starts the season off poorly, Hassel will be up pretty quickly. Then Shoemake is going to be our starting shortstop, although he did not perform very well in spring training either, with a .611 OPS. And then Robles in center, and Abrams at second base, batting 9th against righties. Then lefties, it changes a lot. Actually, if you take a look here, you can see we actually are running 3 platoons. And so Call, McKenna, and Unruh all come in against lefties. So Call actually leads off in right field. Then Meneses, Garcia, Ruiz, Wood, McKenna, Unruh, Robles, and Abrams. And as you can see, against lefties, only have Unruh coming off the bench every 7th day. But against righties, we'll have Unruh coming in at second every 12th game, plus being a defensive substitute. Then Unruh every 5th game for Shoemake, because Riley Unruh actually played really good in spring training. Well, unfortunately, his eye dropped 5 points. Yeah, that's all that happened. But so his ratings don't look quite as good anymore. Unfortunately, his shortstop defense didn't go up either, even though I tried to give him a good amount of time there. And then McKenna will come in one or 2 times a week and call every 5th game for Misner. And then looking at the pitching staff, you may notice a few strange things here. Well, the rotation looks normal. We got Perez, Strasburg, Gore, Grove, Corbin. Then Arano is actually our closer because he got a huge talent change randomness boost. Actually gained a cutter and his movement and control. Let's see, yeah, each went up by 5 points. And his stuff went up by 10. His velocity also went up. So that was really huge. Then we have Giovanni Moran in a setup, or lefty setup slash specialist role. Then Huascar Yanoa did come back. His ratings still look good, and his stuff plays up a lot. I think by like 15 points as a reliever. So he's going to be the right-handed setup man, and also could be a stopper. I decided not to go with anyone in a stopper or primary role because I had like Cole Henry and Giovanni Moran in that in spring training, and neither of them did great in that role. So I think I'm just going to run with a closer in Arano. And then I might use the stopper role a little bit for a couple guys, just to start off. And then we have kind of a lefty-heavy bullpen because we got 3 lefties in middle relief. Anthony Banda, who was on the team last year, Cronin as well, and then Jose Ferrer played really well in AAA for us last year, but his ratings didn't look great. But then he also got a huge TCR boost. His stuff actually went up by more than this because this lists him as a starter. So I think his stuff went up by like 15. His control up 5 and movement up 5. So that was huge. And so he also he didn't allow a run in spring training. So that solidified his spot in the roster. And then Cole Henry will be a middle relief slash long reliever. So he didn't play great in spring training in the stopper role. But if he does really well in this role, he could go back to the back end of our bullpen. And then Mike Baumann, long reliever, we claimed off waivers. So we did have 3 injuries to pitchers in spring training. Josiah Gray, one of our starters, got hurt after 3 weeks. Oh, he didn't play great in spring training. And then Emerson Hancock was going to make the roster, but he got injured in the last game in spring training, which is unfortunate because he pitched really well. And then Steven Agosek will be back in 4 days. Yeah, he got injured pretty early on. So you may notice Dylan Cruz, his potential unfortunately went down. I think he lost like 10 points on his contact potential, and then 5 on power and eye. It's definitely unfortunate there. He still has great potential, of course. And his current ratings are, pretty close to what you'd want from a major leaguer. So he'll start in AA. Wouldn't be surprised if he's up to AAA pretty quickly. And I did want to mention Robert Hassel as well because he absolutely dominated in spring training. And he also had a ratings boost. Just contact up 5, but still. I think his gap also went up by like 15. It doesn't show it here. But contact was the one I really wanted to see go up for him. And so I think he is ready. I'd still like to keep him down to manipulate service time and just to give Misner a shot, see what he can do. But if we look at the last player development update as a whole, I mean, a lot of good stuff. Grove got better because he's going to have to start in the rotation with Gray out. Wood, Call, Thad Ward, obviously Arano, Meneses as well. Hassel. Yeah, a lot of these guys. This guy, Murphy, Stelly also got a TCR boost. So seeing a lot of good stuff there since I bumped up the player development budget. But I think with that, we are ready to start simming the season. Kind of like I did in the second episode of this series. I'm going to sim probably the first 3 series on camera. So yeah, first 9 games. And then we'll go month by month, probably up to the draft. So yeah, let's do opening day. Martin Perez on the mound for us. Oh, looks like I have someone who has to be put on the 40-man. James Wood. There we go. Oops. Sorry, I did not want to do that. We're not going to be playing through the game. And a 13-8 win, high scoring opening day. Looks like good start for us, back and forth all game. Homer for Shoemake, and Meneses and James Wood getting his first couple hits in the big leagues. Good to see Misner. I'm actually not sure if it's pronounced Misner or Meisner, but I've been calling him Misner. He got his first 2 hits as well. Perez wasn't good, but Yanoa and Ferrer finish off the game there. And offense does well again. Looks like Strasburg suffered a day-to-day injury, but we win 11-3. Meneses with 2 hits. Garcia and Ruiz, their first homers. Robles also with a really good game. Looks like, we faced a lefty. McKenna got in with 2 hits. And Riley Unruh with his first start. Yes, Strasburg only went 4 1/3, but the bullpen was strong. Game 3 here. Another win. Shutout. Wow, only allowed 2 hits. Really good start from Mackenzie Gore. Victor Rano gets the save. Garcia and Meneses both with 3-hit games. Abrams also with a triple. It's a really good start so far. Let's see if we can get the sweep. And we do not. Fall 3-6 to the Phillies. Robles and Jonathan Aranda with homers. Misner and Shoemake, 2 hits. Grove making his first start for us, pitched okay. Bullpen, though, gave up 3 runs. So I think I'm just going to send Nogasek on a rehab assignment. Let's see. Yeah, he was hurt for 3 weeks, so I'll give him a few days on that. Might as well check the waiver wire too. Surprisingly, there wasn't anyone who I wanted to claim on it, which is very rare. Usually, there are some decent guys. Andrew Nardi would be interesting, although low control, and we don't need another lefty. Might actually make a claim on this guy because, definitely has options. It's only 24. I'm actually going to make a claim on him because I'll be able to send him right down to AAA. So now we start a series against Cleveland. Patrick Corbin on the mound. And 4-0 loss. Garcia and Shoemake with 2 hits. Shoemake's still hitting over 500. It's really nice. He struggled big time and offensively in spring training. Jose Ferrer, though, pitching super well in the first 4 innings. Corbin, you'll take that from him. But Arano gave up 2 runs. And we win high-scoring game. In Game 2, 11 innings, 11-10 against Cleveland. Homers from Garcia and Ruiz, who are both off to very hot starts. Ruiz with a 4-hit game there. Ronda gets 3 hits. I mean, basically everyone is hitting well. I mean, look at these averages across the board. And fortunately, Perez had another bad start. Cole Henrich pitched well, which is nice to see. Moran, gave 2 unearned runs. Doesn't look like there was an error, though. And your final game against Cleveland, facing Shane Bieber with Steven Strasburg, and a 2-4 loss. No home runs. Aranda with 2 doubles, though. And an okay start from Strasburg. At least he didn't allow any home runs. Bauman and Banda pitch fine out of the bullpen. So we got a scouting discovery. Nothing really there. So then we go to another series in Philadelphia. And another loss, 8-5, against a lefty. Robles, 3 hits. Garcia and Wood. James Wood gets his first homer. Luis Garcia is showing that power that he was predicted to have, which is interesting. Already 3 home runs. Gore follows up his first really good start with a bad one. Jose Ferrer still is not allowed to run, although Huascar Yanoa, struggling a bit in his role, takes the loss. So we do have the draft pool. I'm not really going to review this right now, but one thing that does remind me of is I didn't show you this. I didn't show you guys this earlier, but we did not fare well in the draft lottery. We dropped from 3 to 7, which is very unfortunate. Houston Astros jumped all the way from 12 to 3, and the Reds got the number 1 pick from 7. So unlucky there, but I'm sure we'll still get a pretty solid first-round pick. So then we'll go 2 more games here. Michael Grove on the mound. Another loss, 6-4. Aranda with 2 more hits. Homer from Shoemake, who's off to a red-hot start, on pace for 5 WAR. Really like to see that, the new shortstop doing well. Grove lost 2 homers. Jose Ferrer lost his first runs. And Giovanni Moran pitches well. And then Corbin with his second start. We do get the win 9-7. Ooh, very unfortunate. Huascar Yanoa, very injury prone, goes down with a forearm strain for 2 to 3 months. So he'll go in the 60-day IL. That will allow us to call up Negosek. So I'll adjust the bullpen in a second. But we do finish the series off with a 9-7 win. James Wood, 3 hits and a home run. Really nice to see. He's had a very good start to his career, on pace for 7 WAR, actually. And Luis Garcia continues his hot start. Love to see this. He's also on pace for 9 WAR. And then Meneses, with the only other guy with multiple hits. Wood's actually stealing bases. I didn't realize he does have some speed, but I don't think he's going to maintain that pace of 81 stolen bases. But Corbin, bad start from him. Cole Henry pitches well. Good, or shutout, 3 2/3 innings. Huascar Yanoa came in before getting hurt. And then Victor Arana does get his second save. So it's an okay start for us. Extremely good performances offensively, but the pitching definitely letting us down so far, especially the starters. I've simmed up to June 1st, and the Nationals have underperformed our expectations by quite a bit, as we sit at 21-31, already 18 games back of the Mets, who have had a crazy good start to the season. They're already at 39-13. The hitting has definitely been the bright spot. As we can see, we're 4th in batting average, 1st in slugging, 4th in OPS. Surprisingly, we're doing a lot better in the home runs category, even though I didn't end up doing a lot to address that in the offseason. We're 1st in stolen bases. We're striking out a lot more than last season, though. Overall, pretty good stuff from the hitting department. Pitching, those unsurprisingly been a weak spot. Starters have been terrible. Actually, worse than I've expected. We'll look at individual performances in a bit. Bullpen hasn't been great either. FIPs have been a little bit better, so the WAR is 9th. But 13th in runs allowed compared to 5th in runs scored. We've allowed a high BABIP. See, a couple pitchers have really been affected by that. And also the defense has not been good again, which is unfortunate because I was really hoping for that to be a bit better. But if we go into the lineups now, we'll sort by plate appearances. So Joey Meneses has started every single game this year, and he's been a league average hitter. Only gives him .1 WAR since he's mostly been a DH. But he's delivering in the power department again. 34 RBIs, on pace for a similar season to last year. Yeah, basically the same season. So I guess I'll take that. Luis Garcia, man, I gave the big extension to. He's cooled off a lot from his really hot start that we saw when I was simming games at the beginning. Yeah, I guess he cooled off pretty quickly from that because he ended up being a below average hitter in April. But he is actually delivering in the power department as expected from the preseason predictions. On pace for 28 homers, he was projected to have 27. And you can see his power rating went up. Also, his defense went up. I think his error rating improved. So, still good signs with Garcia. He's only on pace for 2.5 WAR, and only been a league average hitter. But if he delivers 2.5 to 3 WAR a season, given the money I'm paying him, I'll absolutely take that. And then James Wood, this is the main reason why we dropped off a lot in the second month. You'll see 154 WRC plus in April. He was looking like the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Then really slumped in May, which led to us just going 10 and 18 in the month. But his ratings did improve. So, the right things are happening with him. We just want these ratings to develop, and I'm sure he'll start performing well again soon. And then CJ Abrams has been shockingly really good. In fact, he got moved back up to the leadoff spot. Garcia got bumped down to 6. Yeah, so Abrams, kind of the opposite of Wood. Yes, he was, okay in April, but then he's just had an amazing May. 179 WRC plus. It's crazy for him. He actually hit some home runs too. So love seeing this from CJ Abrams. And then Victor Robles, he also he had a hot April, but then cooled down in May. Looking like maybe I won't bring him back after this year now, but I still like his center field defense. And then K-Bear Ruiz has been our best overall player so far. And, it's really good to get these good seasons from him, considering the contract he's in. I just really love his profile with the super high contact and avoid Ks. He's giving us good enough defense, too, behind the plate. On pace for 5 WAR. It's really good stuff from him. Jonathan Aranda's had a super good year, hitting 318. Absolutely take that. 140 WRC plus. It doesn't really give us anything defensively, but still on pace for 3 WAR. And then, unbelievably, Braden Shoemake is actually at the highest WRC plus on the team. On pace for 4.5 WAR, hitting 326, despite just a 40 contact. Yeah, almost a 400 BABIP. Obviously, won't be able to keep that up. He's going to drop off at some point this year. But he's been okay defensively at third. I'm still batting him 9th. Might need to change that. But we've had a lot of hitters do pretty good this year. Cameron Misner has surprisingly been good. So he's kept Hassel from coming up. Although Hassel hasn't actually performed great in AAA. But yeah, 120 WRC plus from him. I'll absolutely take that. Hitting 286. Not a lot of power from him. And then we kind of get into the utility guys. Call, just starting against lefties has been all right. Unro's been decent, hitting 274. Hasn't been great defensively, though. Just something I was hoping he could bring. And then Hedges, backup catcher. That's what we expect. Literally no offense, but he's giving us good defense behind the plate. And then Jordan Diaz only has 9 plate appearances. Actually just claimed him off waivers to be DH against, first base against lefties. That moved Meneses to DH. We had like Brian McKenna up. Also tried Judd Fabian as well. But unfortunately, those guys really struggled. And taking a look at the pitchers, let's sort by FIP. Not a lot of good stuff here. There are some relievers that have been really good, particularly Giovanni Moran, absolutely thriving in his role as a left-hander in the back end of our bullpen, with an ERA under 1 and a very good FIP as well. Anthony Banda, surprisingly, has been pretty good, at least with a FIP under 2. ERA not as good, but he got a ratings bump in the last month. Then Isaiah Campbell recently called up, only a few innings. Cronin, another one of our lefties, doing really good. Thompson, only 9 innings, didn't start the year in the major leagues, but he's been fine. Cole Henry actually had been moved to the closer role. He's been very good, and Victor Arano is the pitcher that's been getting BABIP'd to death, basically. His FIP is pretty good at 3.78, but his ERA is 8.53, and he has a BABIP of 469. So I've seen this happen before, where I've tried to put a guy in the closer role, and they just have absolutely terrible luck. So Arano might just be better in a setup role. I'll have to see. I mean, he's got really good ratings, and his FIP's fine. So hopefully his ERA can, or his BABIP can come back to the mean over the course of the year. And then Martin Perez has been our best starter, although he still hasn't been great. On pace for 2.8 WAR, so I'm sure I'll be able to get something in a trade for him, assuming we don't bounce back and somehow make the playoffs. And then Jose Ferrer in his rookie year, he's been all right. Another lefty in our bullpen. Unfortunately, he has a bad personality. He's actually selfish if you look at like the team chemistry page. So that's a bit unfortunate. And then we've got 4 starters here at the bottom. As you can see, the starting rotation really holding us back. Mackenzie Gore, unfortunately, has had not quite as good of a year. Still an okay year. But hopefully his control can develop a bit, because that's really what's hurt him in his time with us these first 2 years. And then Strasburg has been okay. I don't expect him to do much for us. Just got to get through that contract. He'll probably be 5th starter next couple of years. But I might go into the bullpen, actually, because he only has 3 pitches. But he'll stay in rotation for this year. But it doesn't strike out many guys anymore. At least the home runs haven't killed him. And his control's been fine. And then Josiah Gray was injured at the beginning of the year, so he's only made 5 starts. And he's also having a down year. This is a lot more of a down year than Gore, though, as he had a 4.29 FIP last year, 3 WAR, but a FIP over 5 now. And then lastly, and probably least, Patrick Corbin, who is absolutely terrible. He was injured for a bit. I considered putting him on 60-day IL just to, get him off the roster, but I felt, that'd be unrealistic, and it's kind of like cheating the game. So I didn't do that and brought him back, but he's been awful. And then, as I mentioned, Robert Hassel has not come up yet, because he's only been an average hitter in AAA, and Misner has not given him a reason to come up yet. And then Dylan Cruz, his ratings did go up slightly again, which is good. Potential's still the same, but he hasn't quite been good enough for me to send him up to AAA yet. So I'll give him a bit more time. I'm sure by the draft, though, he'll be up to AAA. We have made it to the first-year player draft, and the Nationals sit at 36-52, still 22 games back of the Mets. And we were not able to recover from our poor May, going 11-16 in June and 4-5 in July. The offense stayed about the same. I think maybe dropped off a little bit in some categories. Some guys had good months, others slumped a bit. I think the pitching got slightly better technically, but not by much, if at all. We still sit in the bottom of the league in most categories. But there were some notable transactions in the last month and a half. We go down to the beginning of June. You can see when the first things happened, I called up Chris Taylor, who's actually done decent for us to replace Jordan Diaz, who's now hurt in AAA. Then Strasburg suffered another major injury, shoulder impingement. I think he'll be out for the rest of the year, which sucks, but then, at least he's off our active roster now, but his ratings will probably drop even more when he comes back. So that allowed us to get Grove back on the roster. Then Hancock finally came up for us, making his Nationals debut. Then I made a couple of waiver claims here on the 14th. Just a couple of interesting pitchers I saw on waivers that could bring value to the organization. We have Huascar Brasban, who is 34, but still under a lot of control, only being in the majors for just over a year. And he still is not allowed to run for us in 12 innings. So that has worked out well. I like his stuff and movement ratings. And then Drew Rom, just organizational depth in AAA. He had options, so I thought I might as well claim him, put him there. But he's a lefty, only 24, and has some good ratings, but has not pitched well for us. They actually made a small trade the next day. After we claimed 2 pitchers, we had too many guys or pitchers at least, probably and batters too, on the AAA roster. So I decided to trade both Jake Irvin and Tim Cate, who were just relievers sitting on the AAA roster, and then a throw-in catcher to get Taylor Jones. He's 30, but another interesting right-handed batter who can provide depth for that spot. Got good splits too, much better against lefties. And he has mashed in AAA so far for us, so he could see an appearance in the big leagues at some point this year. And then you can see we finally promoted Dylan Cruz to AAA. Well, he's gotten off to a very slow start there. I believe that is it for June. A couple things in July, though. Cade Cavalli on a rehab assignment. And I also claimed a third guy, Alan Trejo from the Rockies, to be the right-handed utility infielder who will come in against lefties. So I did send Riley Unruh down to AAA. He'd been fine for us. He put up .4 WAR, below average hitter. I'm actually starting him at left to get him some outfield experience to make him more into a super utility player. But I thought with Trejo's ratings, the way they look, I thought I might as well claim him. And he doesn't have options, so I couldn't send him down to AAA. But I thought this was just another way to add value to the organization. I'd probably rather have Unruh up just because of his defense. But I might be able to throw Trejo in a trade or something to get something more valuable back. And then Huascar, also in a rehab assignment. And I did call Judd Fabian up for a second time. He really struggled in his first time up with us, so hopefully. But he's doing really well in AAA, so hopefully he can do better for us this time. Call had been really cold the last month, so that's why I sent him down. You can see just 73 WRC plus now for us on the year. I'm just looking at a couple things. Let's see, CJ Abrams still doing good. Yes, Major League. So Jonathan Ronda, now actually our top hitter in terms of WRC plus. So he's still playing well for us. Shoemake's still been good, although cold to start the month of July. Misner's still doing really good, still preventing Hassel from coming up. Abram's still been good. Ruiz dropped off quite a bit, unfortunately. And then James Wood, I don't like. I was almost about to send him down because he just had a horrific June. But fortunately, he's gone off to a really hot start in July. So I'm definitely not going to send him down now. But he has hit 15 home runs, but average is certainly a lot lower than I'd like. But he got a good scouting update last time. Potential contact went up, so 65s across the board now, and his potential is pretty good. And then let's see, Robles improved. Garcia, I think, stayed about the same. I really wish he could give us more at the bat because, his contact spit 70. He's got really nice ratings. So hopefully him and Wood will, get going eventually. I guess Wood has started to get going. And the pitchers, rotation really bad. Everyone with an ERA of 5 or above. Corbin surprisingly had a good month. His ERA was like 8 point something. Now it's down to 6.46. But Martin Perez still hasn't been very good. And we have a lot of guys allowing a lot of home runs. One really bad thing has been Josiah Gray. You can see last year, I knew he was getting pretty lucky with that 0.9 homers per 9. And now this year, 2.1 homers per 9. And it's not good for him because if he continues to allow home runs like this, he's not going to be on the team for too much longer. That 30 movement, extreme fly ball in our ballpark is just not going to work, I don't think. But Cole Henry's been really good in the closer / stopper role, which is good. After Arano had been doing really bad, and unfortunately Arano's still doing really bad. Still has a crazy high BABIP, but he's allowing some more homers recently. So I don't know. It looks like it's just going to be a bad season for him, but with these ratings, I'm going to keep him on the team. Hopefully he does good next year. Yeah, and then Brosbon, as I mentioned, hasn't allowed a run for us. There's a lot of guys in the bullpen doing well, but it's literally all our relievers are doing better than all of our starters, which is not good. But fortunately, we do have some help coming for the rotation with Cade Cavalli, who might get one more start, maybe 2 more starts. Actually, probably at least 2 more because he's coming back from Tommy John, where he's out for 16 months or something. So, probably 2 more starts, and then I'll bring him back up, and he'll go right into the rotation because he's actually a 55 as a starter. And then Huascar, probably goes back into the bullpen, but his ratings actually look fine as a starter. Alright, so before I wrap up the episode, I thought it'd be a good thing to highlight some of our top prospects and show you guys how they've been progressing throughout the season. Our top prospect is, of course, Dylan Cruz, who I did recently promote to AAA after he put up a 120 WRC plus in AA. And although he has not played very well in AAA so far, he has been hot his last 4 games with 3 home runs in that span. So hopefully he will finish the season well in AAA. And although his ratings have progressed to where he now has 55 contact, 55 power, and 50 eye, I don't think there's any chance I call him up to the majors this year. There's a chance he starts next year in the majors, though. But I would still like to see these improve more. With his overall only being a 40, that doesn't look as great as some of these ratings. So if his contact can go up 5 to 10 more points, then I would say he's ready. Next, we have Robert Hassel, number 71 prospect in baseball. Hasn't quite played as well as I would have liked this year in AAA. Basically, a league average hitter and a league average WAR. His ratings are, I would say they're ready, but Misner hasn't given him a reason to be called up. And I'd still like to see him get closer to his ceiling, especially since his overall is also just a 40. And then Antonio Anderson, one of many guys who you'll see that we drafted last year, whose ratings have fallen off significantly since we drafted him. A lot of these guys were like 75, 70, or 80 when we drafted them, but they've dropped 15 to 20 points since, which is expected. That usually happens, especially with the first draft. But he still has solid potential with 60s and 55s basically across the board. I did rush him up to A ball, although he has not been great there. But I think he has played good defense since he's like a 30% below league average hitter, but that's positive +4. So obviously very far away from the majors though. Braden Holcomb, another second round pick, another guy we drafted last year. He's still in rookie ball because he has not performed well in either season there, which is unfortunate, but that is something you see a lot where, especially these high schoolers, will struggle for a while, sometimes 2 to 3 years when after they get drafted, but then their ratings start to progress and they kind of climb up the minors quickly. So hopefully that'll happen with Holcomb and he'll still end up being a major leaguer for us. And then Adam Mako, our top pitching prospect, ratings looking pretty good. His potential has increased a couple times in the last few scouting reports, which is very good to see. His stuff looks very good. Already very good with his fastball, curveball especially. He's in Double-A right now and has pitched fine. Certainly like to see him pitch better. He's had quite a few of these like blow-up starts that have really hurt his ERA, but I think he'll be in Double-A for the whole season and then Triple-A next year, and hopefully can come up towards the end of next year maybe. And then Gerardo Carrillo, he's a reliever, but he could come up at any point. His ratings are fully developed. He's definitely ready for the majors. He's pitched great in the closer role at Triple-A. And so, depending on injuries or bad performances, he could come up whenever. I'm sure he'll come up, though, by September call-ups at the latest. And Dean Curley, 5th-round pick from last year. Like Anderson, I rushed him up to A-ball this year. Although he has not been as good as Anderson, mainly because he doesn't play good defense. And so I'm not sure Curley's going to be anything. He could be. Maybe gets TCR that can bump these ratings back up. But with this potential with not being able to play good defense, I'm not sure Curley's going to end up being something for us. So maybe a guy I look to trade for at some point. Let's see, Elijah Green, real-life first-round pick from the Nationals a year ago. Also kind of rushed up to A-ball, because he wasn't great in rookie ball last year. And while his average hasn't been good, he's a 77 WRC+. At least he has positive +4. And his ratings have improved. Up to 45 power is nice to see. 35 contact and high. So I think his ratings should be good enough for A-ball right now. Let's see. Yeah, he's only 30 overall, but his ratings look good enough for there. So hopefully he can be up to high A by the end of the year if he can start hitting better. Andre Lara, arguably our second best pitching prospect, also in Double-A like Mako, and a similar FIP actually. His ERA isn't great, but it was a lot worse just a few starts ago. As you can see in his last 4 starts, he's pitched very well and gotten his ERA down by over 2 points. And his ratings have also developed nicely. His stuff and movement have gotten up pretty well. It just needs that control to come along, really, and then he should be basically ready for the majors. I could see him coming up late next year, but most likely 2026 is when he'll be up. Last guy I want to mention, Aldo Ramirez, 23-year-old, who's already been in Triple-A for 2 seasons. Hasn't pitched great there, but I think he could come up by September call-ups or maybe earlier if we have injuries, because his ratings are ready. He says he's 40 overall, 50 potential, but he doesn't appear to have any more room to grow, so I'm not sure what's going to get him up to 50 overall. So with that, I think I'll wrap up the episode. Next time we will do the draft. Yeah, I think I'll do the first 5 rounds on camera again. Try to speed it up a bit though, compared to what I did last time. And then we'll go up to at least the trade deadline, maybe rest of the season though. We'll just have to see there. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.